Hey everyone, it's another wonderful edition of Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. I'm your host, Val the Voice Johnson, and it is going to be an exciting time. I literally just got off the madness train. What do I mean by that? Colman Domingo and cast and crew. Wow, oh wow. And of course, I had some tissues for another thing that I checked out. And of course, the Golden Globe nominations came out on yesterday. So we're real excited about that. It's Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. We're back and we're live and we'll see it. Oh my goodness, we're doing our thing and we're coming to you right about now. We're back live with Interlude Extra Presents Talk on Tuesday. I'm your host, Val the Voice Johnson. And man, oh man, we got a jam-packed situation happening for you on tonight. Oh my goodness. And of course, we always want to tell you about our sponsors. And of course, Key Spot. Share, connect, and grow. It is Cynthia McAllister and helping small businesses share, connect, and grow, especially myself. Go ahead and sign up with KeySpot to learn more. And of course, a DJ saved my life. This is the ebook from yours truly, Val the Voice Johnson. You scan that QR code and you can also not only just pick up the ebook, but then also on top of that, oh my gosh, you can do merchandise. And since we're in the Christmas holiday season, if you are interested in a mug or a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, and of course, the Pull Up Podcast Show is also there with it. You go ahead and check it out at purelightHousemedia.com. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And of course, for the folks that want to go ahead and be a part of Patreon, we're doing a little bit more with Patreon in the upcoming year of 2025. If you want to learn how to do your own podcast and get going with that, go ahead and do that immediately. Join Patreon at patreon.com/interludes. And of course, Mr. Springer is in the building. We thank you so much for being here, Mr. Springer. And of course, I'm just saying, I'm just having a good time. I have never been so riveted when it came to doing some wonderful things regarding what? Checking some things out. But this past weekend, I was a part of, what do you call this? I was a part of a Christmas play. And I had to do something first before I was a part of the Christmas show. I had to get well. If you guys noticed, last week, right after Thanksgiving, we didn't have a live show of Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday. So I did a lot of that. What's on the plate? You're probably trying to figure that out. The plate has fresh spinach, a cut up green apple. Green apples are my favorite. Limes. That is also turmeric. This is raw turmeric, raw ginger, and then also bananas. I did that with coconut water and vitamin C. And I'm telling you, all that stuff brought me right on back so I could get ready for the Christmas play. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had it based on a fictitious person called Cosmos Carol, played by Diamond, one of the sisters at my church. And of course, I had a really good time participating in this. There was a lot of wonderful editing and writing that went behind this. And of course, there you go. There I am. You see me doing an acting. I was podcaster number 2. Podcaster number 2, and there's Dave with me. And of course, we did a really good job in doing that. And of course, Diamond, a lot of this got filmed before the actual play that happened on over the weekend. I'm telling you, man, I was fighting to get well, and by around, I think I got sick probably around Sunday or Monday of last week, but right around Thursday and Friday, I started to come around the corner and feel better, especially after I had all of that greenness with the green apples and spinach. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, I'm trying to be a part of this play. And of course, there was wonderful singing, a lot of performance. I'm telling you, it was done so professionally. Oh my gosh. I want to give a special shout out to our director, Rudy Penna, and then also Karen and Carla, the screenwriters, and also the Carla was the producer. Carla Braithwaite is a part of our Interludes community. She's been on our show, and of course, you see the carolers, all the singers, Erica. Oh my gosh, Tina! Everybody did such a wonderful, wonderful job. Laura directing, it was really wonderful, and I just had a blast doing this. So it was kind of entitled The Christmas Play, A Christmas Carol, and kind of based on prodigal son from the Bible. You've heard of that. There's me and Dave, I think, just before the show, and one thing that he did while I was there, I had to make sure that I didn't say my lines too fast. Don't say your lines too fast. Oh my gosh. Make sure you don't do that. But I wanted to make sure that I got a chance to do that. And like I said, I really had a blast doing what I did. So that was really, really fun. Up there, Steve, having a good time. One of our talented musicians, one of the many talented musicians there. And I see Carmen, she's checking in. She says, yes, it was amazing. I have never gotten so much wonderful feedback when it came to a Christmas show. And they had a playbill too, and I should have downloaded it and showed it to you. But all I'm doing is working on my next Internet Movie Database entry. This definitely qualifies. Oh my God, I had such a wonderful time. And so, of course, congratulations. Anytime you do wonderful things like a Christmas show or organizing, this took anywhere from 2 to 3 months to organize and get all of this together. And by the time we presented it to everyone on on December 7th, on this past Saturday, it was also, we did a 4 p.m. show as well as a 7 p.m. show. I was worn out after I did my short performances. All we were doing, myself and Dave as podcaster 1 and podcaster 2, was kind of guiding people through the story. And it's the timeless story of a Christmas Carol, of the Charles Dickens old Christmas thing that always comes out. And so thank you so much, Mr. Springer, for putting that up there. This was my Christmas play debut. I am so excited about it. And I'm glad you guys were here. And like I said, we really had a good time. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But like I said, it's been fun, fun, fun. And like I said, if you have a child or your teenage or even your niece, your nephew, someone that's participating in some type of Christmas show, let me know in the chat. The best thing you could do is to show up for your family and show up for your friends. Please go ahead and do that for myself. If no one else, make sure that you do that. It was really good to also perform this with Felicia Oliver, who played the mom. And of course, just everyone else, Joshua, also the Lamberts, who also provided the home that we shot the film scenes in. But like I said, it was really, really wonderful. And I'm still receiving texts from folks saying, hey, Val, I didn't know you were an actress. And I was not really acting. I was doing what I do every Monday and Tuesday, podcasting. Oh my gosh. But like I said, it was really, really fun. Guys, I literally just stopped watching this series. It's called The Madness. Now, let me know if you guys got a chance to see it. I'm waiting for Coach Tony to come on in and let's talk about it. But of course, 8 episodes. I was kind of on the edge about what exactly was going to happen. But of course, I was thinking I have got to go ahead and check this out. Mr. Springer went ahead and let us know exactly about the madness. I think he sent me the preview of the show, and of course, myself and Coach Tony and Mr. Springer, we're on a text chain, and of course, Mr. Springer always gives myself and Coach Tony kind of like, you should probably check this one out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm checking it out, but I hope it's good. And woo, it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on up and through. Oh my goodness. But what I will say about this, Colman Domingo is what I want to say is one of the actors that has been around for a good long while, and I'm grateful now that he is being allowed to become a leading actor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of the things that he's been in. Sing Sing. He is going to be slated to play Joe Jackson in the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic. And of course, he was in last year's The Color Purple. He had the wonderful role of Mr., which was originated by Donald Glover. Oh my goodness. But like I said, this series kind of had me on the edge. And I want to say I was really, really excited by the folks that were a part of the show. Executive produced by, who is this? Stephen Belber. And according to HollywoodReporter.com, this is kind of an 8-episode thriller. The madness, it kind of does this thing, and it takes us on a journey with Colman Domingo as Muncie Daniels, a political consultant turned TV politico, a pundit who has gone a little bit off track. But what happens is, what's the accident of staying next to someone that is not such a nice person? But then again, you don't know. He decided to do what many of us writers like to do: go off into the woods. Now, number one, am I going off into the woods? Probably not. Who are some of the actors that you see here? John Ortiz. He plays one of the FBI agents, Franco. And of course, here I see, his wife, Marsha Stephanie Blake. She is a Jamaican-born actress, has been in a bunch of things that have been wonderful. I recently saw the film that she was in where she played the mom brother. Oh, she did such a great job. And then, of course, just some of the other actors, Dean Cole, a Chicago-based actor. You guys remember him from Blackish. Oh, my goodness. But at the very beginning, things are presented where you have Muncie, and I'll refer to Colman Domingo's character Muncie, where he is a political pundit. He's doing his thing. And then when he's on this sabbatical in the Poconos and he's writing this supposed great thing, the lights go out. Boom. But he recently had met his next door neighbor. And things start to spiral out of control when he's framed, because he comes back to get help for the lights that have gone out. And then he sees two people cutting up his neighbor. I don't want to reveal too much about what has happened, but I definitely want to make sure that you guys check out this thing. I don't know if you all have seen it. I was checking it out going, oh my goodness. Thanks so much, Mr. Springer, because he's the one that recommended the show to us. So I'm sitting here going, what in the world is going on? And there you go. That's the young lady that's playing his wife now. They're estranged at the beginning of the series, and they're working it through. His wife, Elena. But I'm telling you, she's a mom and she is a wife, but she's like, I don't really know about you. But what we start to learn about Muncie's character is that he's someone that kind of distanced himself from situations, especially if they trouble him. We have Gabrielle Graham, who is in here. She plays Kelly, Muncie's eldest daughter, and you could tell from the first couple of episodes that they have a relationship that's strained. What Muncie's been chasing all this time is his own show, And one thing that I learned when doing the research on the madness is that CNN easily agreed for their logo and for their things to be used in the series. The creator and writer here, and also one of the executive producers, Stephen Belber, he says it was so easy to get CNN to agree to be there and have Muncie appear on CNN. He said that he wanted a real network and not a fake network. The conspiracy theories that are introduced in this particular series is not too far from the truth. And I'm sitting here going, what in the world is going on? But of course, we come to find out that there's a lot. Now, Dean Cole plays kind of Muncie's attorney, someone that represents him, getting the deals with CNN, talking, arranging those things for him. And I'm sitting here going, okay, well, this is good. And of course, Deon Cole cracks a couple of jokes, which is always good. And I see Mr. Springer. He's got a question for everyone. He says, did you finish the series? Kevin, I just finished the series 3 minutes before we went live. I just finished the series. It was so good. I see Jules is in the building. Good to see you representing Harlem. Wow, to even have CNIs recognize this show. Thanks for the heads up. We'll definitely check it out. Please do, because number one, like I said, I've been a fan of Colman Domingo's for a good long while. And he has definitely been an actor that has been literally doing the come up. And, for his 55-year-old tall frame, I'm thinking, you've been around all this time and people are just starting to get to know you. I've seen a couple of interviews he's done on The View and a few other places, and I'm just really, really impressed with Colman Domingo. And like I said, Deon Cole from Chicago, always doing that. And I see Kevin Springer says that he's finished up to episode number 4. Mr. Coach Tony, how you doing? Hey, did you get a chance? How far did you get up to with the madness? I just finished the series literally 3 minutes before we went live.
Man, I'm about like spring. I'm on episode like 4. It is just madness. It is, to me, the reality of what we actually live in almost today. And it's a situation that could basically happen to anybody in America.
I know. And it's literally the wrong place at the wrong time, because in that first episode, I was thinking, if I'm in this Poconos, if I'm in this place where I'm trying to write and the power goes out, and am I going to go next door and try to see what's happening? Because I think if he had never gone next door, maybe none of the things and the events would have happened. And of course, in the first episode,
I ain't going in the woods to write. First,
exactly.
Hey, I can get going in the woods if I'm trying to create like a Jason Voorhees type movie, or My Man's in Them or whatever. I get that, but I'm not a CNN person going up in the woods to write. Ain't nothing up in the woods that I'm gonna put on CNN. So when I walk in a house, well, let me back up. When I first turn on a property and it says cell signal not here, I'm turning right around at that point and let my man at Airbnb know I'm gonna need to get a refund, because you ain't telling me we had no cell signal. Now, if I do decide to continue at my own risk, okay, then it's on me being a terrible, being a black man that don't listen, right? So when I park that truck and I go in the house, and the first mistake was he sit down and have some bourbon. Okay, I don't mind that. I'm gonna do the same probably. But while he's drinking, he gets up and flips on the light switch and finds out there's no power. Now, before he even goes to the neighbor, he goes into the outhouse and finds a note. Who the hell leaves a note for me in a cabinet I'm going to that don't nobody supposed to know I'm there? And then when I walk out and go in the sauna, I find a chopped up body. I'm not going to ask nobody. I'm already gone before I get started getting shot at. I'm already without.
And And here's the thing about the Poconos, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not familiar with that area,
Way up there in the PA.
yeah, it's very secluded in certain parts. I mean, I totally get that. And here's the thing. In situations where there's woods and stuff like that, I would prefer to be with other people. Now, this scene that I'm showing you guys right now, let me let you in on something. If you've ever been to Philadelphia, if you've ever been to Philly, they have the most beautiful murals all over the city. Have you been to Philly?
Yep, been to
Mhm.
Philly.
Yeah, and a few of those things were definitely on display, especially toward the end of the show. But I definitely was checking this out. But what cracked me up was that Muncie, and this is Colman Domingo as Muncie, just kind of not really paying attention to people following him. This is the second and third episode, and I was just thinking, dude, this the setup is there, and
First of all,
was
well, I told you first. Second of all, I ain't going nowhere in the city that I don't know, that I ain't looking through my. I'm teaching my daughter that. What's up, Jules? What's up? And K Spring, I'm gonna always keep it 100. I'm telling you, you don't go around a block in the city unless you're looking through your. Matter of fact, you get your driver's license, Val. What's the rules of the road? Every 3 to 5 seconds, looking between your left mirror, right mirror,
right.
and rear view. Right. So if it's
Yeah.
every 3 to 5 seconds. Why the hell am I not looking at my rearview mirror at somebody following me, right? And here's the other thing that's crazy. Brother, if you being looked out at the police, you don't go messing with a white supremacist white wife. What's wrong with you, man?
I think that, and this has been some of the criticism that I've read online, is that a lot of the moves that Muncie makes in the series, especially in the first couple of episodes, he starts investigating his own case. And my thing is that what one of the characters stated, that, dude, you were staying next door to the Jesse Jackson of white supremacists. And I was like, yo, okay.
Yep. I wish I had to go deeper than Jessica. Jess, hey, somebody may not know Jess. I knew Jesse. I knew Rainbow Coalition. You may have to go back to Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Eye for eye, tooth for a tooth. You shoot at me, I'm shoot at you. You feel me? So
Yeah.
that may have been that situation. But I don't think that's a bad thing, Val, from what he did, right? Somebody's trying to frame me. I saw the murder. Luckily, because at the beginning of the movie, he takes self-defense classes. So he took him out in the water. I get that.
Teaches. He's a teacher.
Correct.
That before you go any further, this was something that I read in the Hollywood Reporter with the creator Steven Belber. He started to say the character Muncie is very similar to Colman. And he says that he's from West Philly. I totally did not know that Colman was from West Philly, ironically and coincidentally. And he said in the first interview with him, I'm from West Philly. I drive a Range Rover and I teach all the things that Muncie does as well. So I find that ironic that they got their leading man and they were filming, and Muncie is based in Philadelphia. Isn't that wonderful?
And it was a great part. Everything that was going on, he said, was pretty much the same thing at the beginning of the movie. And like Jules said, she done drove through the Poconos. It's great. Look, I ain't even up in the Poconos. I'm down in Nashville. And you can drive through the woods down here. And trust me, there's some parts that I had Michael Drew like, hold on, Val. Hey, where we going, man? Down south, right? I'm talking about I'm in the real south down in Nashville. So, and I'm actually, Val, probably 52 miles, maybe 50 miles from a home of the Ku Klux Klan, where they originated from, Pulaski, Tennessee. So, which is right off the Alabama north border. So when you don't think like that when you're in Philly, right? Because no one thinks outside of Philly, outside of Chicago, outside of New York. But when you get outside these major cities, it is as country as down south in some of these places. So let's go back and reiterate what he just did. First of all, it had me laughing because he goes from this high-rise CNN brother with all this status, but then when he get in trouble, he the hood brother with all these damn kids and baby mamas, and ain't been in touch with none of his kids. They haven't even know him. I'm like, come on, man, what you doing?
And I think what was important, because he was always kind of pushing his family and people away from him, when the community that he called himself a part of started to alienate him, he had to come back to us. He had to
Correct.
come back to his family. And what I loved about this is kind of that the relationship that was being rebuilt between him and his eldest daughter, and then also between him and his son. You'll see it later on, because I finished the
So,
series, kind of that bonding between the youngest son and Muncie, which is really good. What were you
oh
gonna
yeah,
say?
I like that. That was now who this remind you of, Al?
You know what? The one thing I love about this is that he had a this pop collar, or this which is very 90s to me, and I love this scene. I grabbed this scene in particular because he's walking through Times Square. He made me a little homesick for
But
being in New York. Yeah.
I'm not even talking about his way. I'm talking about going back to what you just said. He left
Okay.
his people to try to go over to the other side because that grass was taller than he thought. But when it was all said and done, he needed his people again. Who does that sound like?
That sounds like a lot of folks,
Now,
unfortunately.
that sounds like OJ.
Oh, and they mentioned him in, I think, the fourth or fifth episode. I don't know if
Exactly.
you caught
Hey,
that.
and if
Mhm.
you're not up on Jay-Z's song, I'm OJ, I advise you to listen. I don't even know if you up on that. So,
But like I said, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, I was gonna say, I don't know if you heard that track by Jay-Z called OJ.
Yeah, let me let you in on something. I'm not a Jay-Z fan, so I'm not gonna know his music. I know 1
Gotcha.
to 5 songs. Sorry about
Well,
that.
I'm gonna put you up on game. When we get finished, I'm gonna probably play it for you because I want you to hear it. But it's funny because
No,
it goes about what you.
you can't play it on the show because I ain't getting hit by his people.
No,
So we
I
ain't
said,
playing it on the
I said, I said when we get finished. That's what I said.
Oh,
When we get finished, I got you. But I really like this. I thought the movie was in the beginning a little weird, but you know what suspenseful movie is not weird, right? You kind of catch on. The only thing that I wish they would have done in the beginning, maybe like when he tried to reach out to the supremacist wife, I wish he'd have done it in a little different way because they put him on a block in a beautiful neighborhood, sitting on the street, and every white person walked by, looked at this single ass black man in a Rover sitting in front of his white lady's house, and then he got her garage marked up. So I wish when he reached out to her, he saw her, maybe done something differently, met her and had her meet him out in the general public and all that. But it just, he had so many people following him. I thought they were going to do something terrible to his family, but don't tell me because again, I'm on episode 4.
right. So you'll find out later on that the relationship between the wife who lost her husband, who got chopped up next door to Colin being there, or Muncie, but then it's a much bigger conspiracy that comes out in episode 6, 7. By the time you get to 8, things are wrapping up, but things could be tied up in a bow. But then there's still that one little thing. And think about it. Muncie has been running away from issues and pushing people away. Those things all come to a head in episode 8. I have to let you know the madness is available. Just started streaming over the Thanksgiving weekend on November 28th. It's 8 episodes. It's a limited series. I don't know if it's going to come back, but like I said, this was one of the ones that I really, really enjoyed. So you guys go ahead and check it out. But I want to
Let
hurry.
me
I
tell you
want to
one
get
thing, Doc, before we move on.
Mhm.
Before we move on, here's
Okay.
something that kind of got me. So to your point, you can't tell me looking at a series like this, right?
Mhm.
You got a brother as a CNN star replacing Don Lemon and all this, and end up in the kind of mess that he ended up in. And here's the reason why I knew it was bigger than what he said. Because you got my mans in them from the Chi-Town up in there, baby, right? Playing his lawyer. So when you need help and you quasi go to your main law firm who've been helping you for years, and they
That's a
tell you, I
mhm.
can't help you no more. Then when you go to your boy at a different law firm only because he your homeboy, he got inside connects, and then he tells you, if I keep helping you, I'm getting fired. That tells me already that the situation I'm involved in is way up here. It ain't even at my level no more. Something's really going wrong. And then you walk up to your truck to get into it, and that dumbass white woman show up at his truck, one gonna let him in his truck. Then I like she gonna. I like how he pimped her out and put her on camera himself, because they try to play you like that sometimes.
He started to get wise at that point, but like I said, there are so many things that have happened in real life that I know really gave Steven Belber and the rest of the cast and crew something to really work with. But like I said, please go ahead and check out The Madness. It is currently streaming on Netflix. And along with what's streaming on Netflix is this thing. OMG. Did you get a chance to see this?
I saw bits and pieces. I tried to do my thing. I tried.
Don't worry about it, because I 110% got this on lock. I have been a fan of, I want to say, Jamie Foxx since In Living Color. When he was doing Wanda. Oh my goodness. This was something that I was doing, and I did a poll on our Facebook group on Interludes podcast, and I was asking people what was their favorite film or favorite thing that they loved by Jamie Foxx. And so I'm going to go ahead and share what some of the people voted for. And of course, I did number one, Ray, which was the Oscar award winning performance he did as Ray Charles. Django Unchained, that was in 2012. Collateral, which was with Tom Cruise and Jada Pinkett Smith in 2004. Baby Driver in 2017. And The Soloist in 2009. Of course, what won out for people, what they liked the most, was his performance in Ray. 75% of all the votes that came in leaned towards Ray. Did you have a favorite film or song that you like from Jamie?
I mean, almost everything, but I'm a one up you, Val.
Oh, what you got?
I saw Jamie Foxx as Jamie Foxx was kicking his entire career off. So,
when did you see him? When was this?
I had a chance to see Jamie Foxx in late 1991-92 at the Regal Theater on 79th Street when Jamie came to Chicago, and he was doing comedy / singing. And this is right before his first album dropped. Before he got into the bit, he was still a comedy, coming out of Atlanta, doing all this thing and whatnot. And he came to Chicago, and he told everybody that this was going to be the most unusual show he'd ever done. It was only the second show of the tour in the United States. He opened it in Atlanta. He also talked about that on the Netflix thing today. He opened his life up in Atlanta. He went from Atlanta. His second show he ever did was in Chicago, 91, 92. I would say maybe like winter 91, 92-ish. But it was funny because we're like, who the hell is this Jamie Foxx kid? And then within the next few months, we knew who he was because he blew up. And I like so many of Jamie's songs. I love Unpredictable, but my jam of all time was Blame It on the Alcohol.
Okay, well, check that out. One thing that I'll say about the special, it's a little over an hour, and what had happened was at the I believe, in Atlanta, what had happened was recorded in the early part of October. And of course, when you do a recording like this for Netflix, nobody's allowed to bring their phones in, and everything gets locked up. So nothing is.
I'll still be sneaking mine in there, man. I'll still be sneaking.
Yeah, you're funny. So what I heard from the CBS Morning from Gail, she was at one of the performances that happened, and this is not a comedy special, Coach Tony. I can't say.
I watched about a third. So I'm almost halfway through. I mean, I was really in a dark space, or oh man, that's crazy. Especially when he talked about his sister, the baby sister that ended up driving him around Atlanta. And I know Atlanta very well, up and down Peachtree and everything else. And he found Piedmont, got the Piedmont Park, ended up being a Piedmont Hospital, and thanked everybody from there. because downtown Atlanta is not an easy place to get through. But if you know Peachtree, everybody that's on tonight, if you know Peachtree runs through Atlanta like Michigan Avenue do in Chicago.
It kind of runs through everything. But one thing that I'll say is that I got a little emotional watching this, because he literally, you could tell, even with him coming out being funny and dancing, the vast majority of the time you saw tears in Jamie's eyes, and a lot of times he wouldn't let it go. But the one thing that really got to me was his conversation he had with God. Yeah. And I was thinking, now Jamie has two beautiful daughters. Corinne, his eldest, who he was able to walk down the aisle and gave him what she actually introduced him. But and then later on in the special, his youngest daughter actually is a musician and she plays. And then he reveals something, and I'm not going to share it, about how both his daughters showed up. His family, his sister, his two daughters, they protected him, because he kept joking around talking about people claiming that he was cloned. And he was like, that is not the case. He said, people are still going to say after they see this special that I'm cloned. And I was like, why?
Hey, like you said, Diddy did it.
Oh, that's the other thing. And every time he would do a dig at Diddy, I would read the faces on people's and the people were like, oh, and I'm like, and he said, oh, I left those parties at 9. I left early. And I was thinking to myself, and then he also addressed the he also addressed the what do you call that, the elephant in the room, that a lot of people, especially conspiracy theorists, we just came from a whole series that talked about conspiracy theories, that Diddy was the one that possibly poisoned him, and he was like, that didn't happen. But I was thinking, I says, if you're perfectly healthy, he's 55 now, but a perfectly healthy 54-year-old, why are you having a stroke? And you're in the middle of filming. He was in the middle of filming a movie for Netflix, ironically. And
like you said, he don't even know. And Val, that's God. I mean, when the man upstairs talked to you, and I knew one of the guys here in Nashville last year that was a marathon runner, and he worked out athlete, a little older than you and I, and perfectly healthy and everything else. He went out on a marathon run, came back, and sit down at home, they said, and he died in his chair. So no symptoms, no calls, no nothing. So when God is tapping you on your shoulders, you don't see it, you don't know it, you don't see them hands until he physically puts you down. And like Jamie said on that special, one thing I did respect for what he did say, Val, is I still don't know what happened. I still don't know what it was.
20 days, he says he didn't know. And there was a very funny joke regarding the nurse that had been caring for him. And he was very protective he joked around about his pickle. And he was like, I don't want anyone to see me. Right. And I guess it's a pride of men, especially women, not being seen naked. And the nurse informed him, I have been bathing you for over a month and a half, and his voice went up, and I fell out. Oh my gosh, I fell out.
You just in a pickle.
I was on the floor. Oh my gosh. And yeah, Jules says God only knows, but this is the one thing that I was remarked by. Like, it turned into toward the end, it turned into almost like a worship service where he was just like, thank God that this happened. He talked and spoke about his daughter. He talked about how his sister held him down, and then he would crack these jokes and say,
"It wasn't the baby sister who no one expected."
Exactly. And I was thinking, this is amazing. And he kept making this comment. If I wasn't laughing, I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I'd still be alive. And then he said it so often that eventually the audience said it back to him. He would start it off and then the audience would finish his line. And so he was just really in tune. And then he joked around and says, "I'm not a clone." And then he pointed to some of his biggest films that he's been in. One of my favorite songs that Jamie has done is the one that he did with Tongue Twister and Kanye West. And he's kicked it off with that particular one talking about.
I do like that one too. That's a cut.
Yeah. Said you want some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross.
Little Anita, set this party off on right. They want to be, they want to be, they want to be. Oh, that was a cut. Well. Man, come on.
So I was thinking,
you. Hey, that was Then when Twister come in and hit him, because y'all don't know about Twister, man. What you said.
I know. And I was thinking, I said, Jamie had recorded music while he was doing his 90s sitcom, The Jamie Foxx Show. But for some reason, myself and maybe millions of others, we didn't take him seriously. But I like how he kind of segued into the music industry and doing another album. And with the encouragement of Kanye West producing that particular track, he ended up acting in Ray. And then people were like, you do sing. And then, of course, he did the hook on Gold Digger. He did it in the special as well. Yo, man.
If Jamie was stock, I would be rich, because if he was Google, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, I would be rich, because when I seen him in that early 90s, coming to Chicago, I was like, this, I was almost like Eddie Murphy. This boy good. This boy good. But
he good. He good.
But what was unique about him, he had already mentioned that while on stage at the Regal that night, that he was going to be working really close with the Wayners and on In Living Color, the new show coming up. All this stuff is brand new. At this time, the Cosbys are still really rolling. They're just on the downside. And he was just trying to get off. And to look at him, and when you see the sitcom, he had already talked about in the early 90s. I remember him at the show just simply talking about Martin Lawrence and the Martin Show. And, at that time, Martin was in his heyday. He took us through school. Martin was rolling at the time. He was just, Martin was cooking. And everybody wanted to do a little Martin. And that's why when he got to the Fox. Now, I'm going to throw a curveball at you, and some of you may or may not know. So, did you ever notice the building that Martin lived in, his apartment complex?
That was based in Detroit. No, I did not notice that.
Okay, so that was did you ever notice in Jamie Foxx in the hotel from California that they operate out of?
I remember that. That was supposed to be based in Los Angeles.
So both of those were the exact same hotels.
I did not know that. Oh my goodness.
So
go ahead.
When you look at the Fox and go back and look at the Jamie Foxx Show, and then go watch an episode of Martin, they operate out of the exact same building.
Oh my gosh. Well, here's a question for you. What's Jamie's real name?
Oh man, I know this because his daughter was just talking about it. Because he's from Texas. He's a Texas boy.
He's a Texas boy. You're correct. And he did the joke that kind of gave me a gut punch was when he talked about having the conversation with God. And what he said, he says, "Yo, don't you know who I am?" And then he refers to God, and he's like, yeah, so I don't know how you all talk to God, but that's how God sounds to me. And so he goes back and he kind of gives that conversation, and he says, well, why is this happening to me? Why did this stroke happen to me? And so what ended up happening is that he says, well, I got 2 daughters, and I need to be there for them. And then God said, well, what about what happened to my son? You didn't hear a pin drop. You heard a throughout the audience. There was a lot of times when you watch this special, it gets so quiet because people are leaning in and really, really taking his words for serious, because literally, James.
But that's deep. Think about that, Val. That's deep. You asking God to spare your life on this hospital bed because you need to be here for your 2 daughters and your grandkids. But then God said, spare you for your daughters. Look what happened to my son. I spared him to make sure that you got a life.
Exactly. Exactly. And he started making promises like, I need to pray. I'll start going back to church. And then he goes into these conversations,
Right? You
cracks
got
a joke about not white women
that
don't
makes you
go out.
tighten up.
Like, wow.
Right. Hey, that I hope that make him wake up and look at a few more black women though. You know, I don't mean nothing, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I ain't saying, I'm just saying. You
So of course,
that must be the text.
Jules got it right in the
Eric Bishop.
chat. You put it in there. That's right, Eric Bishop. And I'm like, okay, that's his name. That's his name. Eric Marlon Bishop. That's the full name. But he says that he's like, maybe Peter got it mixed up. Like you were supposed to do this to somebody else. What about all the bad people that are out here? But like I said, you all will really, really enjoy this special because, like I said, it literally just came out today, December 10th. Literally at midnight.
I think it's already moved to like number 1 and number 2 on the Netflix already.
Exactly. And I'm going to watch it again because, like I said, there was just so many gems that he shared. And like I said, how you use comedy to get through and talk about. He kept mentioning this. He says, I need God, help me get through this. Like, help me finish this special. And I was thinking, because it was an emotional time. There was a time when his daughter was playing the guitar, his youngest daughter. He kind of hid behind her because it was just emotional. So I was just thinking to myself, thank God.
You know what was cool to me on that though, Val? If I go back and look at what you're saying, you know what was really cool? How even though it was a special, and because eventually he had to tell the story, right? I love how he kept saying, everybody want to tell my story except for me. Everybody.
Yes,
and
Coach.
He's like, you can't tell my story. I got to tell my. But what I loved about it, he told the story, but he still put a little comedy in there. So
he did a lot of comedy.
I don't want to sit up and take you to church for an hour and a half because we know what happened at church. You good until they pass the peace offering around and everybody ready to leave, right? That's why they always collect for the building fund late. So, you know, but when he did that, I thought, man, that's a great twist because he pouring his heart out one moment and he clears the tears up the next, jumps on the piano, sing a song we hear too, have a serious conversation, then hit you with a punchline right in your gut and make you laugh. You know, I thought that was genius. And then the cool part about it, Val, he wasn't there to talk about nobody. Now, don't get me wrong. He talked about Money Mike. You know, yes, sir.
Oh, he did. I love the impressions. He does great impressions. He did a great impression.
Oh my God. What did he say? What did he say? No, but he talked about Mike. We went around all day sticking hand, eat butts again, but you get out, the next day your hands smell. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you see this, I was looking for this shot. I don't know why I didn't have it before, but that seriousness that you see in his face, you see a man that's grappling with the fact that he almost lost his life. He could have not been here anymore. And he literally is thanking God throughout the special. Like, I'm not a clone. I don't know where that came from, but I think people literally took it serious of a movie that he did called They Cloned Tyrone. That was on Netflix too.
Man, so I guess that was the craziest damn movie he ever made in his damn career. He could have said that. They cloned Tyrone.
Well, that could have been a mortgage payment. That could have been a mortgage payment.
He made it funny, but that movie was crazy. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. But like I said, a question to you guys, how many of you have had an opportunity to see the special? It just came out today. So hopefully you guys will get a chance to see it, but it's currently streaming on Netflix right now. What had happened was that is the title.
And I even get a bigger question, Val, you know, to go a little, and I'm not the person I always try to be serious, but how many on the night or as we restream and everything that's been through a situation, either yourself or somebody you know in your family, that all of a sudden, that the next day that they were laughing and joking, and all of a sudden, the next day you're in a critical situation. and what happened to you in that scenario? How did it change? How did life change you? What did you draw? Because every day we're busy, right? Every
Right.
single day. Everybody that's on this podcast, myself included, everybody's busy. But when the man upstairs tell you to drop everything you got going on, for those that understand what he's asking, there's no question asked. You drop it and you move on. Because if you don't drop it, you could probably be the next person in line. So I think God tests us a lot. And, and when you're looking at a situation like that, sometimes we have, and I like how he put it, sometimes we put our stars or people that we see so much on a completely different pedestal. And they're no different than us. They just worked their craft and they crafted their work and they were paid for what they did well. And not to say you couldn't have done it, that's just what was important to them and they made the best of it. So I was really, really blown away by the half that I've watched so far to see that he wasn't there trying to worry about if it was a Netflix special, if it hit, if it resonated, if it was. He was just simply there to tell his story and let everybody know I'm real. You can pinch me. I'm right here. I'm not a clone. This did happen to me, and I still don't know what the hell happened, but God pulled me through. I mean, that was amazing, man.
Yeah. And like I said, for anyone that's a fan of Jamie Foxx, I just say bring your tissues. Don't watch the special thinking you just gonna sit there and laugh. It's a serious thing. The one thing that I thought about, and you asked this question of, has there been that relative or someone that was been close to you, like the day before everything is fine, and then the next day something flips, and I instantly always think about that time with my mom
Right,
and how we talked. I was doing photography coverage for a non-for-profit organization that came on as my client. And I was in Indianapolis, not too far away from Chicago, and she was here. And she, anytime I traveled, it was her requirement, Val, give me a call or let's talk. And I talked with her that morning and says, well, mom, I'm going to be shooting some things. I'm going to be doing some things and filling some things out. And I think the concert that night had Teddy Riley, Guy, and Blackstreet. And so I got a chance to actually meet them backstage and take some photos. And I was excited to share this information with my mom. Like, oh my gosh, I met these folks. And then I get this phone call. I hear her voicemail, and then I get the phone call from the neighbor that your mom is in the hospital. And
mm,
I just remember that weird, eerie feeling of what's going to happen now. I have to finish the job. The job is going to finish up. I'm going to take some more pictures on the next day. But I literally rebooked all of my plane. I didn't make it. I didn't take it back to New York. I flew right to Chicago, which is a very short flight from Indianapolis. It's like maybe
right,
45 minutes, but I came
right,
back. And so I think about that. And I think about that for us. We should not take life. We should definitely take life and celebrate it every single day. We just never know. We never know. And all the conspiracy theories and things that are out there, however it is,
right,
Jamie's not a clone. Whether he was poisoned or not, we'll never know. 20 days went by. He didn't know what happened to him. But the great thing that he kept saying at the beginning as well as the end, I'm back. So
right. I'm
check
back.
him out. Check him out.
And Van, you are 100% right. I'd never forget when I hit the road from when my old man was on the same situation, and he was at a little company in Mary, and
Mm,
and they got him out. And I was talking every day. I was one of the only ones. Sisters in Florida, sisters in Cali, and I'm in
mhm.
Nashville. I was hitting that road. I had to at that time. I had to roll. I had to rover on the road. You know what I mean? I was, and it was great because wintertime Chicago snow and get home, you have no idea what you're gonna hit between South Indiana and all the way to Chicago, snow wise on 65. So I never get the first day I got there and I walked in the hospital and the nurse said, I know who you are. And I'm like, I never met this lady. I'm like, what are you talking about? But I had been talking to her on the phone. She said, yeah. You Mac's son. I know that because you got that scraggly voice now. I remember hearing you on the radio, I mean, on the phone all the time. And you got here, the moment you got here, I recognized your voice immediately. And,
Mm,
and you sitting there with him, and man, we were laughing, joking, just talking about a lot of old stuff when I was a kid and this and that. And it was hilarious. He wanted one request. One request. He said, man, I just want to ride the city. I'm like, ride the city, dude, this snow, this butt up. I'm riding up. I said, I tell you what, let's go. So I called myself, Val. You know how you just try to ride out and do the around the block thing that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Next
yeah.
thing you know, I come off on 95th. I'm at the Dan Ryan. Next thing you know, I'm over by Peel Hill by the house. I look up, I'm in South Shore. I'm down Lakeshore Drive. I'm on north end of Chicago. Before I realize it, we have been driving the city for 2.5 hours, getting back to the hospital. And, you know, he gave me high five. We cried and all that. And I said, man, Pops, I get the road in tomorrow. I'll see you in a few weeks. And he passed, speaking of Indianapolis, passed on my way back to Nashville once I had passed Indianapolis. But my sister then found out and didn't tell me because they knew I was on the road. So
Right.
as you just said, you don't know when my
You
man
don't.
got the plan for you. All you got to do is got to put the work in. And then just hoping when the work is there, you've completed the assignment. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And Jules said, my heart stopped a couple of minutes, and she lives partially in New York, on 168th Street. Only God knows why I live with no disability. Praise God.
Wow.
One of the things that's mentioned in the special is that he talked about how he had to totally rehabilitate. He couldn't walk.
Sure.
They brought in Holly to help him with getting over how he was feeling. He was feeling sorry for himself and giving himself a pity party. And Holly just was right there to shake him out of it, because she took him around other folks that were worse off than what he did. She says, you will probably make a full recovery, but if you stay in this mental state of depression and why this happened to me, and you're constantly questioning God, no, I'm not here for that. We're going to rehab you. We're going to come back and you're going to work with me. And, praise God to everyone that works in the medical field, the healthcare field, that do disability and that do help our paraplegic and folks who are injured from
Right.
whatever injury that happened for them. And for the folks that are able to come back like Jamie did. Like Jamie did a lot of dancing, because
Right.
at one point at that time, he was not able to walk. And of course,
Right. You said you got to
Jules.
put yourself back together. I mean, and you figured you had to get it done. You'll be proud of me. Matter of fact, I told you a few weeks ago I went out to the Bears game right in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. That what you just mentioned in a quick little story. So I'm sitting down with this lady. Just got out the airport. We're talking, and my daughter had texted me about some stuff back home, and something was going on with my granddaughter. And
Mm-hmm.
the lady was sitting down, ear hustling me. I'm like, first of all, get up out of my convo, But since you ear hustling, let's talk. So we get to talking, walking through the airport, and she's like, man, I see you a nice person. You this, and that. And I was like, yeah, but my daughter's got some things going on, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just glad God got me out here to finish. I just can't wait to make sure he gets me back. And the lady out of nowhere, Val, don't even know, is like, God didn't do anything for you. I'm like, excuse me? Like, yeah, God didn't do nothing for you. You got yourself through this. You the one that did this. And she went on this rant. And, couldn't find out she was atheist and all that when she finished. She told me, and I said, well, let me tell you. I said, let me tell you like this. I'm going to put it like this, and we're going to be done with this conversation quickly. I said, as I woke this morning, God woke me up. When I got to the airport, he put me on that airplane. When
There
he
you
flew
go.
me in that air from Nashville to get me to out here to Arizona, I didn't walk. I didn't see King Kong walking through the neighborhood with that damn airplane in his hand. I was in the air, and he dropped down. I said, and I'm going to put this in reality to you right now, since you are saying what you just said. If something happens to my daughter, my family right now, while I'm gone, or my son or my grandkids, I'm in Arizona. What can I do from here? She looked at me. I said, I can't do nothing. All I can do is
Mm.
hope and pray that he allows me to get back home. And when I get there, I can then lend a helping hand. I looked around, Val. She had a tear. She was crying. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to, make you cry, but you hit me with something. I hit you with reality. That's just facts. So I said, you call yourself an atheist, but at the end of the day, when you on that bed, or you on that God's unlifted hand, you're gonna need him. Who you gonna ask for? You ain't gonna ask for the other dude, because he gonna just set you on fire. It's
There
just
you
real
go.
talk. Hey, as
Let me
the
go
young
ahead.
kids now say, Val, no cap.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and close out our show here. I want to make sure that I mention this. A lot of times we don't get no love for the Golden Globes, but of course they had
We're
their
gonna do one.
announcements. We're gonna do one. They had their Golden Globe announcements on yesterday on CBS, and of course, Mindy Caitlin, and of course my favorite Morris Chestnut. They did the announcements and gave all the full list of the folks that are nominated. Now, of course, with the long list, I found out there are a lot of movies I have not seen.
Okay.
And of course, the three nominees that I want to talk about briefly is, and let me make sure I bring up my notes. If you guys got a chance to see the movie Wicket, both
I know you did.
actresses, yeah, I know I did. Both of the actresses went ahead and got nominated. Now, of course, best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, music, or comedy. It's Amy Adams, Zendaya, Mikey Madison, Carla Sophia, Demi Moore, and Cynthia Erivo. She's a British actress. Brilliant performance in Harriet a couple of years back, and of course, recently with my favorite series. She did such a wonderful job portraying Aretha Franklin. But I have to say, with this performance in Wicked, I have to say, by the time she hits her last couple of notes in Wicked, I was crying. Oh my goodness. And of course, best performance by a female actor in a supporting role, any motion picture. You have Felicity Jones, Isabella Rossini, Margaret Qualley, Selena Gomez, and Zoe Zendala. I'll make sure I don't mispronounce the name. And then, of course, who we see on the screen, Ariana Grande. So she's nominated for supporting role. So the lead actor in this Wicked is Cynthia. But you know who you see on the screen right there. Who is that, Coach?
That's my boy. But I'm gonna back up real quick. I know Ariana Grande's name is Grande. Does that mean she's a big Grande? Or does that mean,
No,
or that means she's just crazy large? Because if you guys have ever seen, and I'm gonna throw a movie out there, and I know you've never seen it, Val, but have you ever seen Fear of a Black Planet? And if you have not, you need
I've
to
seen it.
research that.
I've
And you
seen
need to
it.
see that. 1990 movie is crazy. So I'm just wondering if she's just crazy large because her last name is Grundy. That's all.
And of course, Jules says Wicked was amazing. She saw it on her birthday. Oh,
Okay,
happy
well that's
belated
my man
birthday.
Denzel. That's my boy Denzel's in there right there. That he ain't had to worry about playing on training day. That's him out in the Coliseum, baby.
And Bella's in the house saying, well, what a segment. Thank you so very much for that. You guys can go to goldenglobes.com/nominations 2025, and you can go ahead and check out all of the folks that are nominated. A best performance by an actor in a supporting role. You have Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. Haven't seen this film. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Okay, haven't seen that one either. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. I did check that out. Keelan Kirkland for A Real Pain. Yura Brosoff for Honora. And Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. So this is going to be
Denzel something because he about to exit stage left pretty soon. You know what I mean?
But of course, I had a feeling that he would get nominated. I'm just a little sad I didn't see any nominations from The Piano Lesson. So we will go, and of course, Bella is very excited to see the nomination for Denzel Washington. Yes, I could hear the Queen. But we could go ahead and check that out. And like I said, that's going to be a fun thing, of course. And I'm glad you guys got a chance to see Wicked. Coach, if you want to take your daughter to check it out, it will be fun. Granddaughter to check it out, it will be fun for you. I want to make sure that I mention on yesterday, I got a chance to sit in with the coach regarding the Pull Up Podcast show. I mean, I was going to talk about this at the beginning, but I wanted to make sure to talk about it. But of course, we were able to break down. He was able to break down the NCAA and all of the bowls that are happening: the Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, and Peach Bowl. Now, of course, we always say for promotional purposes only, these are just predictions, right, Coach?
That's right. But I was looking at it today, 12 ball games. If you follow my promotional purposes only, and I got the national championship game with those that didn't tune in last night, as I'm wearing that red hat, as you can see, the national championship will be Ohio State Buckeyes playing the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Will it make it that way? I don't know. That's just what Coach Tony see. That's just based on the brackets. It's based on what I'm looking at for promotional purposes. But if you put a little promotional dollars on it, you may get a little promotional payout. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my gosh. Well, coming up, and we're excited next week for the Pull Up Podcast show with Coach Tony Thompson. We have author, coach, and five-time NBA winner. It is Bill Cartwright. Coach has been working on this for a couple of months to get him to come. He'll be here next Monday. Coach, you excited?
Hey, like DJ Khaled said, and on his remix song with Fat Joe and Remy Ma, go all the way up. And when you get up, go all the way up. Man, this is amazing. We're talking about career, illustrious Bill Cartwright's career stemming from San Francisco all the way across 3,000 miles to New York City, playing with them beloved Knicks. And then before he headed home, he came and stopped in, as we call it, the mid-coast. Remember that back in the day, Val?
Yeah,
we were the mid-coast because we had the West Coast, East Coast, and they would battle, they would fight, so we call ourselves the mid-coast. But he stopped along on his way back to Cali and picked up in 5 quick rings with the Bulls. So, it was great and to see everything and see his career. And I've been pushing the buttons to try to get him on. So please, circle the calendar on Monday. Take a moment out your busy schedule. Everyone on tonight, tell somebody. Then tell somebody to tell somebody, then tell them to tell some more people. But let's get on here and let's give him a big warm of welcome. Throw some questions at him. Because I know you guys, if you're like me, I want to talk about The Last Dance. But I don't know if he's going to be able to answer some of those questions, but we'll see. But we're working on everything. And, man, I'm telling you, again, don't meet me there next Monday. Beat me there.
I'm telling you, this is a powerful second season episode that we have coming up. And so we're really excited about it. The Pull Up Podcast show every Monday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, and Queen Bella, she says she cannot wait for that. So that'll be fun.
And we got some more coming behind that. So we good. But right now, Fab, how does a DJ save your life?
Well, as I said a little bit earlier, as we were talking about Jamie Foxx, it really hit me hard, my mother's passing. However, being a virtual DJ and getting into podcasting were one of the two elements that helped save this DJ's life. If you want to read more about the story of myself and how you can be motivated to start your own podcast, go ahead and scan that QR code, go to purelighthouse.media.com and check out some of the merch we have. We have now have the Pull Up Podcast show t-shirts available, as well as shirts for A DJ Saved My Life, which today.
Hey, excited about it. Y'all can do. You guys can do all the training and the classes and learning. You can do everything you want, but you just can't get my produce. You can't get Val from me. You know what I'm saying? To do what you got, you got to go. You got to go find your own Val. Then you good. You know what I'm saying?
And of course, patreon.com. Find your voice at patreon.com/interludes. If you want to start your own podcast, you can see some of the behind the scenes that's happened. Of course, I am feverishly working on a best of our episodes over the past year as we wrap up 2024. So it's going to be exciting to see how that happens. And of course, it's another wrap up of a great Interlude Extra Presents Talk on Tuesday. Man, oh man, I say go ahead, Coach, and finish the madness. You will like the ending. Well,
Hey,
I think you'll
I
like the
always,
ending.
at least I always try to finish what I started. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
you know, I'm
Yeah,
trying to make
exactly.
sure I get through this, and especially when I got some things that I'm watching that you get excited about. Now, you given me a couple of foolish things to watch, and I'm like, but I'm gonna watch it. But this one here, this was good. I like that. I'm gonna give you salute on that.
Well, hey, let's give Kevin Springer the salute on checking out the madness. He sent it to us. We saw the trailer for it, and I said, let's go ahead and check it out. And like I said, you guys check that out, as well as what had happened was the comedy special with Jamie Foxx. And of course, the Golden Globe nominations will be January 5th, 2025 on CBS. We'll see you on next week.
Let me get one last thing, Val, before we go. And one
Mhm.
more thing about the madness. If you haven't heard about Juan Santos' contract, signing the largest contract for almost $1 billion to move from the Yankees to go across the street to the Mets, pull up on your boy on a pull-up podcast. We're going to talk about it a little bit next week before Cartwright come on. In other words, what's our last words?
We're out. See you next week. Peace.